Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about this. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. The Uncanny X-Men 173 from 1983. Great cover here by Paul Smith, who really, I will always say, he should have stayed all the way through the end of John Romita's run. He pencils and inks this cover himself, and it features Wolverine and Rogue. I have several playlists actually, but I have a playlist where I cover the Chris Claremont era of stuff in reading order. So it's the X Universe playlist, and then I also cover the X-Men by themselves. So I have a playlist for just the X-Men. I also have one for the New Mutants, and everything is done in reading order. That is something that I want to do. So here we go. This is the classic X-Men cover, which is actually flip-flopped. So Rogue is in the center here, and Wolverine is in the back, and Adam Hughes is the artist of this. And it's actually pretty cool. So, all right. So, oh, I also have the Wolverine Limited Series playlist. So, all right. And so this is also narrated by Wolverine. So you want a good time in Tokyo? The guidebook says check out the Ginza. And so we get this vertical panel here. And the title, To Have and Have Not, starring the X-Men, Chris Claremont, Paul Smith, and Bob Wiacek. Louise Jones at this time is still the editor. Orzechowski and Glynis Wein are letter and colorist, with Jim Shooter as the editor-in-chief. I don't think Tom Orzechowski misses any more letters, so I think he will be the letterer for the remainder of the Claremont era. So Wolverine continues narrating here. Occasionally, though, even in the best of places, things can get a bit rowdy. So you can see these two people are coming out from this establishment here. And so I'm going to make this page a little bit bigger here. This is a double page spread, which is why they were compacted. And so Wolverine's holding this guy here. It's already a lousy night for business, Akio. You want me to do the same for your health. I want information. I won't ask again. And Wolverine, of course, is speaking Japanese. That's why these little things there meet. And then, of course, there's the little asterisk, and it says translated from the Japanese. And Rogue says, you all better cooperate, sugar. We've been getting the runaround all evening, and it's making Wolverine a wee bit testy. Of course, Rogue joined 2 issues ago. So this is her third appearance as a member of the X-Men. And so Akio says, I dare not betray my oath of silence. It would mean my life. And then Wolverine says, in that case, bub, you've got a problem. So someone, of course, is going with a side behind Rogue. And Rogue says, I do so enjoy watching a professional work. Playing your sidekick is proven to be a real education, Wolvie, in more ways than one. Of course, she's got superpowers, so the blade doesn't hurt her. And she picks up this gentleman here. That, sir, is no way to treat a lady. And then she tosses him, don't do it again. And so Wolverine has his claws popped here. And again in Japanese, you're out of options, Akio. I want the Grand Oyabun of the Yakuza. Natoni Yakusi. I don't know. So I apologize. And Akio says, "You'll never reach him, Gaijin. Nabatun-san is defended by a veritable army, the finest martial artists in Nippon." And Wolverine says, "That's my problem. Yours is more immediate." So, Wolverine tosses him and he says, or he's narrating now. Punk's a survivor. He talks figuring whatever happens, he'll come out ahead. Either I nail the old man or vice versa. And so that dude, Wolverine lets him go. And Rogue asks, "What's our next move, Wolvie?" And he lights up a cigarette. Oh, looks cool. Just in yellow here. "Nabaton, he'll lead us to Viper and the Silver Samurai." And then Wolverine says, "Things get nasty." So this paragraph here I won't read. This is all exposition for everything, kind of catch up the readers. So check out the playlist. So we'll move on here. And so the very last sentence said, "Storm has disappeared." So of course we're going to find out where she is. And look at her hair. Oh my goodness gracious. "Tak, it's Yukio. Open the door. Let us in. My friend and I need help," says Yukio. And this guy says, "Go away, wild one. The word's out on both of you from the Oyabun himself. A death mark." Is it Oyaban? I don't know. I apologize if I'm butchering all this. It is not my intent, but "Forgive me, Yukio-san. There's no sanctuary for you anywhere," says this guy. "Pooh, it's a long way across town to the XMen's hospital, Storm. You up for the trip?" And she says, "I fear that decision has been taken out of our hands." And here we see some gang members. 3-1 odds. Hardly seems a fair fight, but beggars can't be choosers, says Yukio. And Storm, who Paul Smith is drawing her face different than he has in previously. It's more squared. Paul Smith, if you guys have been following me, Paul Smith doesn't draw Storm like this, but here he's drawing her very rough. I don't know if that's just an indication of what she's been through, maybe with the hair and stuff, but the face does not look like Storm, like he normally draws Storm. So, all right, Storm continues her thoughts here. "We face death, and worse. How can Yukio be so lighthearted and uncaring? We are trapped in this alley. We are unarmed, wounded, and my control over my mutant elemental powers is marginal at best. Oh well, you only die once." So she's starting to get that attitude. So, all right. So, back to Wolverine and Rogue, and back to Wolverine's narration. Nabaton's estate is outside Tokyo, ringed by computer-controlled defenses. Thanks to Rogue, bypassing them is a breeze. So, she's picking them up here. The only man sents are residuals. And Rogue says, "No guards?" she asks. "Doesn't look like it. And is this not a cool... Look at this. Mother of God, that is a cool image. God, Paul Smith, wish you would have freaking stayed." And so Wolverine says, "Stay close and stay quiet. Follow my lead." And she says, "Show enough, boss. Anything you say." And Wolverine's like, "You think we're playing games, kid?" And she goes, "No, siree. I'm just not afraid of being hurt. One of the benefits of being invulnerable." And Wolverine says, famous last words. "My stars, Wolvie, you sound jealous." And Wolverine kind of crouched down and says, "Someone's downstairs alone." And Rogue says, "What are we waiting for? Let's go get that sucker." And you can see that they're stepping through some kind of sensor. So, um, it says here she doesn't see the electric eye or the robot activated by her breaking the beam. I'm tempted to let her take the shot to find out what her limits are, but Wolverine, of course, knocks her down. She's like, "Hey," and of course, it shoots. "But I may need her later on." And you can see here, gasp. So, next time, watch your step. That statue could have been you. And Rogue says, "My hero, a save like that deserves a reward." And she's about to try to kiss him. And he's like, "No," and puts his claws in there. And he says, "Don't ever pull a stunt like that. Make a threat like that to me or any of the other X-Men, even as a joke. Understand?" And she's like, I didn't mean any harm." And Wolverine's like, "That's why you're still breathing." Oh, what a badass. Chris Claremont really had learned how to really write Wolverine. This is his. You can tell how comfortable Claremont is in the in his Wolverine. Uh, what would you say? Narration. So, all right. And so, speaking of narration, here we go. What makes Rogue a mutant is her ability to absorb their powers and memory. So we've already know about that. So we'll go through. So he makes reference to Carol Danvers, and so he reaches here and he goes bingo, and she goes, "Wolverine, what's that smell?" And Wolverine says, "Decay, our esteemed crime lord Nabatonia Kuz joined his ancestors over a week ago. Don't come any closer, kid. He isn't very pretty." And Rogue says, "But didn't Lady Mariko said she'd seen Mr. Nabaton earlier tonight, that he'd helped arrange the meeting? How could he do that if he was dead?" And Wolverine says, "An imposter. We've been suckered. While we're out in the boondocks chasing smoke, the samurai has a clear shot at Mariko and the X-Men." So Wolverine realizes they have been played. So, back to Yukio and Storm here. And these two guys are, sorry. From this, I thought they were running towards something, but they're being pushed out. So, you can see Yukio kicking this dude here. "Nifty, Wind Rider. If that bolt of lightning doesn't teach these lowlifes the error of their ways, nothing will." And Storm says, "I have never used my powers to deliberately inflict pain." And Yukio says, "It was no less than they deserved, and a far gentler fate than they had in store for us." And Yukio says, "Look on the bright side. After tonight, they'll probably think twice about going in the rain, much less mugging anyone." And Storm says, "I think you're right. Whatever it means, this madness of yours that has infected it, I welcome it." And you can see a bolt of lightning heading her way. Oh, this is the next step in Storm's evolution. So, the Mohawk will be coming very, very, very soon. And so, back to Wolverine. Try as we might to reach the hospital in time, I have a nasty feeling we'll be too late. And you can see here taking out their guns, but dispatched, and the stars again, the ninja stars, I guess they're called, or we call them. This is probably not the technical name, but and here they get these two. And so here's Viper with the hand. "Be quick, be efficient. I want no witnesses, no survivors," she says. So, all right, but suddenly here is Rogue. And she goes, "That ain't very sociable, Viper, honey. Maybe you and your playmates ought to delay your visit till you all learn some manners," she says. So, And so Rogue drops some happy landings, and they're like, she's only a girl. Despite her powers, while you remain the deadliest assassins in Japan, kill her as you command, Viper. So she's only a girl. Well, isn't Viper also? All right. So Viper says, splendid. That should keep the brat busy long enough for me to find the Silver Samurai. So I wonder how old Rogue is supposed to be. Um, and finish what we came here to do. And so back to Wolverine. There's just me left up here, Samurai. Show yourself if you dare. And speaking of, you will not find me lacking in courage, Gaijin. That's supposed to be like an insult, by the way, to foreigners. Do tell. That why you brought an army? And Samurai says, I need no help to claim my birthright, dog, or to deal with you. So the Silver Samurai attacks here with his sword. So, all right. So Wolverine lets us know his sword can cut through anything, but of course he is bones are laced with adamantium that are practically unbreakable. It says here, I survived the first cut. He survives mine. So, oh my goodness gracious. Look at this. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Paul Smith is really good. Damn, I'm so upset that he ended up leaving this series. Oh, and I like John Romita Jr., but I like Paul Smith more. And look at Silver Samurai stabbing Wolverine right through the chest here. But of course, Wolverine now stabs him and back to back. But of course, he can't. Now, here's the thing. He would cut quite a bit. Now, he may not be able to decapitate him, but look at that. But Wolverine grabs him and his arm and breaks it. Look at this. Oh, snap. And then, does he cut him? Punches? There should be blood here because he probably smacked him, or he's going to. All right. And so here's Mariko. Logan-san, no. Enough blood has been spilled, beloved. Let this be an end to it. My half-brother has lost. Grant him his life. And Wolverine says, I do then, Miko, this will never be over. He'll keep coming back till one of you is dead. So, and Viper's from behind aiming here. Have no fear, Wolverine. Your dilemma is about to be resolved. Stand away from Samurai and no false moves or I'll fire. And Wolverine's like, she'll fire anyway, soon as Harada's clear. But for now, I play things her way. No real alternative. In the shape I'm in, Viper could cut me down long before I reached her. Instead, I edged towards Mariko, towards the door, figuring to shove her through to safety if Viper gives me half a chance. There's no sign of rug. There's no. Alright, there's no sign or sound of Rogue. Dumb kid probably got overconfident again and let herself get nailed. And here comes the Silver Samurai. Viper mistress, forgive your humble servant. And he drops and she's like, Canuccio. And look at this beautiful magenta here. We move as one, Viper and I. Me for the door, her for the gun. The outcome isn't even close. So, but then here comes Rogue. Take a hike, shorty. Let me do my good deed for the day, and pushes them through. The kid's either a show-off or she doesn't know her own strength. That shove flaming near put Mariko and me into orbit. And Viper says, a noble gesture, X-Men. I hope your compeers appreciate your sacrifice. And Rogue says, joke's on you, lady. They couldn't care less whether I live or die. Remember, she just joined and she was a villain prior to this. And so she thinks, that blaster must be something else. I can actually feel its effect, but I've got to keep blocking Viper's shot no matter what. Lady Mariko is kind to me. She accepted me right off. I won't let her come to any harm, thinks Rogue here. And so here comes Wolverine. Rogue, he yells. And so we get more narration here. I'm moving like an old man, no speed and less strength, looking desperate for a gun, a knife, or anything I can use as a weapon to stop Viper when her own blaster overloads and does the job for me. So the kid's barely breathing, but I can barely find a pulse. And Rogue's like, "Gee, Wolvie, I guess I ain't as vulnerable as I thought." And so Viper says, "It seems we part even, X-Men, both sides with casualty. This is Harada's fight. It will be his decision whether or not to continue." And Wolverine says, "I see either of you again, lady. I guarantee it'll be the last times. Perhaps. Farewell." And it says here she activates her teleport ring. And Rogue and I are alone in the room. "So much for my brilliant career. I think my life. Don't talk stupid. My healing factor can save you. Nah, you need that for yourself. If I absorb your powers, Wolverine, you may die." And he says, "My risk. Sides, darling, who's going to stop me?" And so, love this. A small little thing with a big white panel just kind of letting this moment. This was just choreographed beautifully by Paul Smith. Oh, and so Wolverine continues, "I'm a man who pays his debts, Rogue. You sacrifice yourself for Mariko. It's only fair I return the compliment here." So, all right. And so we're back at the ancestral at the headquarters basically of Clan Ishida, and a week later, and Mariko is getting married. And so I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl, too excited to sleep. Do all brides feel so on the eve of their wedding? All is in readiness, yet I am certain something has been forgotten. I wish today were over and done with, yet I would not miss it for the world. Ah, Logan-san, I do so love you. And so someone's coming here. Who's there? A friend, Lady Mariko, who wishes you and your consort. And look at this. Well, and walks away. Oh, you can sort of tell who this is. Goodness, what happened to me? I must be more distracted than I thought. Imagine talking to myself like that. And drops the flower, so we know something's gonna be up. We've got a wedding here coming up, and we've got the X-Men finally are out of the hospital. We got Wolverine and very nice what would you some duds here, some traditional Japanese not a suit, so just dressed or whatever. All right, we got old X-Men like Havoc and Polaris, who's supposed to have green hair. We got Corsair, we've got Scott and Madeline Pryor, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Jean Grey," and they're like, she goes, look at that, she's got a sword. "Colossus, stop her. Empress Lander, what are you doing? Are you blind? Look at her. She is the evil one reborn. She is not. She resembles Jean Grey, but that is all. The Phoenix is dead," says Xavier. "Charles, Scott, forgive me. When I saw her, my reaction was automatic. I could not help myself." "I understand, Lalandra. No harm done." But he thinks here, "But I wish I could be as certain as you, Professor, that Madeline isn't Jean reincarnated." And so, here we go. All right, Kitty looks up. Look up in the sky. It's Storm. And look at this. Everybody's like, "What the?" And here we go. "Hello, kitten. My apologies for being late." And we have the first Storm in a mohawk, which she will use for 200 and for a long time. 200 and let's see, they have it for the she's got it for the Mutant Massacre, which is like in the 210s. She's got it for Follow the Mutants, which is in the 220s, and a little bit there. So she's got it for about the 230s, 240s before she grows it back out. So she'll have a mohawk for quite a few. And she's like, "Hello, kitten. My apologies for being late." And your clothes, your hair, what have you done? Says Kitty. A new look. Do you like it? And she's like, "How could you?" It is quite the change. I mean, when they redesigned her, wow. Kitty. And Colossus is, "It's a rather striking change, Aurora. Why'd you do it?" "I have my reasons, Scott. Am I not allowed to?" And then she's like, "Goddess." And then she's like, "I beg your pardon. I did not mean." And Cyclops is like, "My fault. I should have realized the effect Madeline would have on everyone and warned you beforehand." And she says, "Don't feel badly, Ororo. I'm getting used to being stared at here." So now we are heading to the wedding of Wolverine and Mariko. So here we are. They're getting ready. And look at this. She's looking in here, which is most likely. Okay, this is Kitty. And she's going to give this. It looks like a baby because that's how she's got him. And gives it to Maddie. And she's going to watch it here. And she goes, "Lockheed is a perfect name for her." And she thought it was a cat, but it's of course the dragon. And here Scott's making small talk, and she's like, "Scott, yes, Madeline, is something the matter?" And then she's like, "Who precisely are these people, and what the blazes have you gotten me into?" And Loki's like, "Yawn." So here we go. She's walking through here. Wolverine is narrating how much he loves her. And so here comes Mariko and dressed very ceremonial. That's the word I was looking for. And she says, "Stop the ceremony. Most Imperial Majesty, honored guests, there will be no wedding." And Wolverine says, "Why?" And she says, "Because, Gaijin, you are not worthy." So something happened when that person went to visit her. So, and she walks away, and look who it is. You can tell. And he was out there waiting, and Wolverine crying, or a tear drops as everybody kind of leaves and looks on. Next issue, romances. So, oh, heartbreaking. It is. It truly is. So, Uncanny X-Men 173 by Chris Claremont, Paul Smith, and Bob Wyacek. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.